Today we're going to build a sarcophagus. Starting with your clay, roll it out. Remember to flip your clay while you're rolling. A couple rolls and then flip it. Also, you need to roll until the plastic rings touch the table on the rolling pin. You're not done until those plastic rings are rolling freely on the table. Take your piece of your sarcophagus and you're going to cut it up. Keep your pin tool straight up and down, not to the side. Cut the first piece out and then the second piece out. These are the biggest pieces. You want to do those two first. I hope you've noticed I've pushed my pieces clear to the side, not in the middle of my clay, so that I have room for the other pieces. So I have the top and the bottom. Next I'm going to use my ruler and just the ruler width to cut some sides. If you don't hold the ruler, watch what happens. See that little nick? You want to hold your ruler tight. Then I'm going to measure up against my sarcophagus and start building the walls. Make the walls the same length as your sarcophagus bottom. The top's a little tricky, but I just round it around, mark where it should be. And then this is called dry fitting. I'm just seeing if everything fits. And right there, it was a little too wide. It was pushing the walls out. You want your walls straight up and down. If they're not straight up and down, you need to trim. Score, slip, and smooth. This is how we scratch and attach our pieces. So I'm scoring with my comb, and I score both pieces, not just the one. Now I dip with the water and then I can attach. It's also important to get the sides. So that side and that side need to be scratched and attached together as well. Then it's time to smooth. So we scored it by making the lines. We slipped it by dipping our finger. Now we smooth the joints together until you can't see a line. Masonite slab, that piece of wood right there, is really great to put your project on because sometimes when you're handling it will fall apart, but keeping it on the board will keep it nice and steady. Make sure the top fits and then continue smoothing until you cannot see those seams anymore. They need to be all the way blended together. So decorating the top, there's actually a chart. There's pressing, adding clay, scratching in clay, or subtracting clay to decorate. Here I am pressing in a texture, not too hard. If you press super hard, you'll distort the top. In fact, you might want to check again, measure to make sure it still fits if you're pressing in anything. Here I'm adding clay. I'm going to add, since this is my sarcophagus, I'm going to make a face. So this is my head. Notice I scratched it, attached it with water, and then really pressed it on firmly. This is my headdress. Scratch and attach. Both pieces need to be scratched, dipped with water, and pressed on firmly. Just continuing with additive techniques of adding now some arms crossing over. You're the artist, you can choose what elements you want to add to make your sarcophagus top decorated. Now I'm attaching my top. Score, slip, and smooth. Score is the lines, slipping is dipping, and smoothing is making your seams go away. Fit that top on very carefully. I've had students make their top stretched out too big because they press so hard. You might want to trim it so that it fits. You can see my sides fit really closely. Then I'm able to smooth it right on to the base. I've got a really light touch with my smoothing. If you press too hard, you'll cave in the walls of your box here. So you don't want to press too hard, just nice and soft touch here. And then if you want to add any last minute decorations to the top, just be careful about the middle section. If you press hard on the middle, once again you'll cave in your whole box. Make sure your name's attached with it. The slab building steps will be on the board if you need a reminder or help. Now if you want to do subtractive techniques, you need to let your clay sit out for a couple hours. And what happens is it turns hard. I can tap on this and it's not going to fall apart. I can't really smush it like it once was smushed. This is the leather hard stage. I just decided to cut in a pattern. I tried to do it with the texture roller, but once I smoothed all my sides, the pattern went away. So now I'm carving it in instead. The last step is making an opening. I'm tracing where I want to cut, then cutting on an angle, not straight up and down. The reason for that is to make it so that this lid won't fall into the middle once it's off or put back on. If the lid's cut at an angle, it will nestle in just perfectly. Then we'll have a nice little opening to turn this into a time capsule. You can put items, papers inside, and then we'll seal it up, and eventually you'll open it in future years and remember this fun project of building a sarcophagus.